Hello everyone, welcome back, God, to Pokemon Colosseum, 100% run. I'm DeoGenZ, and today we're going to keep traversing the Shadowpoke lab of Ein, the evil, calculative scientist who probably started this whole project. We kept reading his reports all around this region. Is this the region of Ore, or is it something else? Or is Ore only in XD Gala Darkness, or is this also considered Ore? I'm not sure. But all around this region we read his reports of how to keep Shadowpokes and their hearts closed for good. And the awareness of Chi. The fact that there's someone who can actually see through their plot. It amazes me that it takes them this long to actually take Chi out. I don't think they're going to accomplish it now that she's walking around with us. I mean, they only made one attempt on her life, and that was when those two goons whose names are escaping me at this point, I think it was like Trudley and Foley? Yeah, Trudley and Foley. That's probably what it was. You know, I don't understand why they only tried once to stop Chi. They tried kidnapping her, and then they're like, nah, we don't need to do it anymore. You know, let's just keep making Shadowpokes. Who cares if there's now a person with a machine to take our Shadow Pokemon, and then a girl to see through our plot? You know, it's not like those two are ever going to join forces. He's an evil dude overall, and she's a nice, innocent young girl. She's probably just going to go back to Agate Village and Grand Blizzards, awesome, and just chill with her grandparents, you know? Just keep the Egon's Pikachu nice and happy, and comb the fur of it, not really be any conflict to our Shadow Pokemon plans. Why would it matter? Just real surprised in an evildoer's plot that they never came back for swiping seconds, so to speak, trying to take her and destroy her. All it takes is a bullet. No, I'm just saying, you know, that's definitely not something that Pokemon is prime on doing, shooting people in the fucking head, but it's really all it takes. You know, that's why I guess I got tired of Team Rocket failing all the time after a while. They never caught a break, and I could always see a way to improve their evil plots. Which, yeah, that's not something you want to do or pride yourself on, like, oh, I could be a good bad guy. But, I mean, come on. It just, like, common sense would tell you that you could do something very simple here and eliminate a large problem. Like, I never understood why, like, the Team Rocket in anime, Jesse and James specifically, always went after Pikachu. Okay, it's a strong Pikachu. Yeah, I get it. It's not like the others. But if you just didn't follow Ash and his gang of friends, don't you think you'd have a bit more success? You know, if you didn't have to constantly deal with that overpowered Pikachu that seemingly never changes, except maybe he gets a bit more skinnier from season to season. Why don't you just go after other people who have lesser pokes, who are easier to plunder? I never understood that. Never got that ever. It's like, if you just went the opposite way that Ash was going, you'd probably be in a good spot. You actually might get something for Giovanni once in a while, but no. You still gotta go after that Pikachu. That's the best thing in the world. It's not like there's anything else out there. I mean, they could have even had more luck in the wild grass. There was good enough Pokemon in certain places to do that. And this is the machine that is vital to knowing what the passcode is going to be on Ein's main gate. The gate that separates us from the Einstein that made this horrible shadow operation. The DNA samples that you find around here are going to be random and specified to your game file, so don't think that you could just look at this walkthrough and say, oh yeah, now I know what the code is. Unfortunately, they change up the DNA sample every time you do a new file. That's why you gotta completely erase the first game before you can make another. Which is unfortunate. You know, maybe a possible shortcoming you'd consider of Pokemon, the fact that there's no multiple saves. I always thought that would be interesting, especially if you could do a kind of trans-game inner save, but then again that defeats the whole purpose of trading and meeting other people. But now, who needs to meet people? You just meet online entities that trade with you now on GTS. So it's all good, it's all good. And you always want to, if you have the option, disable that electrode. Either take it out with an earthquake quickly, or put it to sleep like I had just done, because usually those things will explode on you. And if you let it go through that, it tends not to hurt its compadre, because usually it'll have a steel type, either magneton or magnemite, and it will rain havoc on your team. You know, considering you don't have that many steel types. I don't even know if we have one steel type to choose from. I don't think so. Because remember, we're not collecting from the wild here. It's all that we have within the stealing realm. Oh, and for a second there, I thought that that was my Ampharos. I was just like, what the hell? Why did I do that? But then again, I realized it's a scientist with a more interesting poke than electrodes and magnemites. My hat's off to him for actually having something worthwhile, but to his disappointment, he's still easy enough to take out. Thanks to our psychic sweeper, Espeon. Oh, and here comes the most obnoxious part. Now, he says you're stuck in this lab, but that's completely inaccurate. Absolutely so. We are not stuck. I just went out and healed, cut out all that obnoxious blaring siren hall running, and now we're going to go up here to take on Waha! Another peon that will happily peon and take her poke from. Ooh, Vibrava. Not quite a Flygon, but one stage away, so that is very awesome. We'll certainly get a capture of that. But this is where this level, or this part in the game rather, becomes extremely annoying. I thought it was obnoxious before to have to constantly run back and forth between the PC and then one by one transfer your Pokemon from your party to the PC so they can heal. But now you have to do it under duress of sirens. You know, if you're playing this on your own, I would just, quite frankly, turn the sound off. Put on a good record, put on another OST of an awesome game that you love. Not that this OST is something to sneeze at, but at this point, when they want to blare sirens at you, it's just obnoxious, and it doesn't even do anything. You can leave. You're totally capable of leaving. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if you're totally capable of leaving. I never actually tried. I never actually tried to go out of the front gate. But you can leave this building, and if you could leave this building, it leads me to believe that you could leave this whole entire lab. But every time you come back to it, it's going to be blaring with sirens. So that scientist was totally off, saying that you can't leave. You can, but every time that you're in the lab, it's going to be an excruciating headache for you. Now, which makes me wonder, what do the grunts and peons think of all this? I mean, they must be hiding in the air ducts above, because they always fall down on us, or right in front of us, to take us on. Did they get migraines from this? I would imagine so. It echoing through the air ducts and whatnot. Somebody's got to be wondering, who turned on the damn alarm? Can somebody get that? And there's that scientist just standing there smirking. No, you must leave this alarm on. I'm creating the illusion that the trainer is stuck here. When he's really not, but he doesn't know that. Yeah, I actually do, Doc. I left this building. No troubles. And now we gotta find one more DNA sample. One more DNA sample, and then we can get out of this obnoxious alarm system. And finally take on Ein, the mastermind of the Shadow Pokemon plan. Running down the halls, getting a bottle of Advil as we speak right now. And okay, so in that room there with the first scientist that we faced, we have to actually backtrack. That's the main elevator that we just passed. I didn't do too drastic of a fade. I made sure that it made sense so you could see where we were going. You go down this elevator, because I got lost myself a little bit, and there's no reason for you to see and hear annoying extra alarm noises. It's just unnecessary. And the last DNA sample, Bathahawa, is right there. It was there the whole time. I just didn't notice it. And now you do. I don't think the location of the DNA samples are switched around from file to file. So that's one thing that this walkthrough will help you out with. You know, it's not going to be code for code what your game's going to be, but the location-wise is exactly the same. So use that to your advantage. That should have actually been the first DNA sample you got, and in that hall that had the empty storage containers of shadow pokes that have all left, with the construction worker who says, "You want a shadow poke? Oh, too bad, you came here late, can't get any now." That is the second, and then the third would be down the elevator here, which leads you into the DNA sampling room. So let's analyze this piece and see what the last bit of code is. Raikou. And these are all shadow pokes that we've seen or captured in the past. I haven't seen Raikou yet, but if you could guess, we've already had 2 out of the 3 legendary dogs face us. What do you think Ein's gonna have? Yep, a Raikou. Shadow Raikou. So this should be interesting. And it's also smart the way the game goes about letting you capture the legendary dogs, because it doesn't start out letting you capture Raikou and then having to take on Suicune and then having to take on Entei. Because if that was the case, you'd be able to sweep them. Whoops, speaking of Entei, didn't mean to hit that. If that was the case, then it would be far too easy to get past the legendary dogs. 3 times. Ah, you're the dude with the Hitmontop that I totally nabbed from you. You got another shadow for us to take? I would be more than glad to abduct it from you. You peon. Peon. I'm gonna pee on you. Real talk. Pee on you. Take your shadows. Real talk. I don't watch that, so I don't even know if I'm singing it right. Don't care. Surf! Oh, the Wababa Fett's dead fast. Oh, and he's using a Destiny Bond. Was that Destiny Bond or something else? It's probably Destiny Bond. Thinking so. Now he's asleep, so we won't be able to use it. And Clamperl can kick it. And we take out Wobbuffet. Nice and fast. Is that a Shadow Medicham? No, that wouldn't make sense. That wouldn't make sense. We've already gotten a Shadow Meditite. Meditite. And poof! Aurora Beam. So that's awesome. We've got Ice Power now. That'll be very good for taking on the final bosses of this game. If you could imagine, they've got Dragon types. Some of the toughest types to defeat in the Pokemon universe. Oh, you don't even have a shadow this time, you fool. Why'd you even get in our way? Why'd you even bother facing us? Yes, I went to go heal. Way too long to leave that footage in. And now... Oh, geez, these are the tombs that they make shadow pokes in? There's a freaking large coffin. How deadly.
Good. This disk has been scrubbed of all data. That's done. Ah, how did you get in without my notice? Ah, I see. You must be the much-talked-about DeoGenZ. Little did I expect to see you here. I'm Ein. I am in charge of the Shadow Pokemon Lab. No one must be allowed to interfere with our Shadow Pokemon plan. I won't allow it. Let me acquaint you with the power of my Shadow Pokemon
In the next episode.